We are going to go out to Texas. We have Emmanuel is a theist, he, him pronouns, wants to discuss why the U.S. should be a theocratic state. Well, Emmanuel, I can tell you, definitely myself and Cross Examiner would love to hear your reasonings for that. Thanks so much for calling. So tell us, why should the United States be a theocratic government?
Yeah, well, before I called in, I was a little bit nervous. Nice talking to you, SR. The last time we spoke was June 2023, so it's been such a long time.
I feel like it's been a while. I'm
more
glad
than
I hope you're
years.
doing well, by the way. I hope you're taking care of yourself and all that good stuff. Even though we may disagree, I still care about you as a person. So hope you're okay, man. But
Yeah, so I don't really mind a non-Christian like holding office or government, positions or whatever. The thing that I like is as long as you have some kind of beliefs, I'm okay with it. Now, if you don't have no beliefs and you're like agnostic or something like that, or you're like a skeptic, I would like have a problem with it. So when I say,
so hang on just for a second, Emmanuel, just for a brief second here. So like I am an atheist, right? Like you could even classify me as like an agnostic, non-cognitive, whatever. Okay. Like there's all these different labels, but none of those specifically give me my value set, right? Like I have a value set. For instance, humanism is a pretty good one, So like somebody could not believe in a God of any kind and then still have a value set. In fact, like, at least my understanding of like various philosophical constructions out there, like the majority of them don't appeal to a God, So like then it seems like there's no problem, right? Because like I have values, so even though I'm an atheist,
when I say beliefs is like a religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs, I'm not talking about like your moral.
But what SR is asking is what is special about religious beliefs? Because there's religious beliefs out there that are horrible.
Right.
Like, there's really nice religious beliefs, like the Jains are like all about peace to the point of like not wanting to kill a bug, right? I'm not sure I'd want them in office because I want to get rid of the mosquitoes and I want to be able to fumigate. So they might pass laws that tell me I can't do that. There are other people whose religion is might makes right, and they've got a God they worship that says if you can go out and kill people, you should do it. You don't want them in office. So I'm not sure I agree with your premise that you say you are okay with anybody that claims to have a religious belief holding office and being able to pass laws that control how you live. Is that really what you mean?
What I mean is that I'm not like talking about like that kind of like death or cultic type of stuff. What I'm talking about is like they don't really have to be like Christian or Jewish or Hindu or Islam. I don't really mind it. Now, personally, I have an ideal of like America being more of like a Iran or Yemen or that kind of stuff. That's kind of like my
So you think that America should be more like a state that just killed 2,000 protesters because they were protesting?
Right. Why do you think
not
that
part? Not that part. Okay.
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 So like those places without that stuff, but again, why? Why
I tend to be selective is like I don't really believe in killing because of your belief. Like personally, I still believe that you deserve like some type of human rights. Like I'm not like an asshole. Like you're like, you don't believe in God, you need to be killed. No, I don't really believe in that.
Well,
but what I actually believe in that is they have laws like if you're a non-believer, you get more taxes or that type of stuff. So I think it will be kind of like nice if we have incentives like that. So that
wait, hold on. Hang on, I'm sorry, Emmanuel.
No, this is great. No. Let him. I want to hear this.
I do.
I've got a new bill I want passed.
I just have to make sure that I am on the right page. Are you saying that you want a system of government where those that are not part of the religion of the government are like taxed at a higher or different rate than those that are the same religion?
Tax. What is your problem?
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because
okay, so like that's jizya, right? In the Quran, right? Like that system has been tried. Allah specifically says those from the book pay a different price than the the non-believers and
we
all
already
those
said we want to be like Iran. Like, yeah,
this is crazy.
tracks.
Okay,
yeah.
I guess
tell us more, Emmanuel.
I'm sorry, please tell us.
Okay, first of all, I believe in Christ, right? So what I'm saying is, like, if you don't like believe in Christ, we're not going to harm you or nothing like that. But
you don't think that taxing people is harmful? Wait. You don't think that taxing people more is harmful?
Let me introduce
not
you
like
to
a
some
significant amount. It's like a little bit amount. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
it's just a little bit today.
But why in the world? Why in the world, man, would you ever hear a proposal for a policy or a law in a society that explicitly singles out a group of people and treats them worse? And then you go like, yeah, no, that feels really good to me. Like, I don't see what's wrong with that.
It's not worse.
Like,
it's just a little worse. You heard him.
It's a little worse. Right.
If I've learned one thing in the practice of law is that you should use as many adjectives as possible when you're describing how to behave.
Emmanuel, look, no way this works out in any conceivable, right? There's no way that this works out, because the likelihood that the people that are going to be in this government that you tout as being your ideal government, the likelihood that those people are going to adhere to your version of this belief system, right, so incredibly low. But the more important problem is the fact that it opens this argument and legal justification up. What happens when everybody wakes up tomorrow and reconverts to the true religion of Islam? All of a sudden, Emmanuel, you become a second, third, fourth class citizen. And if the law is not treating people equally when it comes to these types of things, then how in the world do you ever expect to ride a bus or get a hotel or eat at a fucking diner? I mean, this is the entire premise. I don't know if you planned this, Emmanuel, but like, it is the start of Black History Month, man. And like, oh my God, I feel so many weird echoes and I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. I got a little excited.
Annual question.
But
Emmanuel,
by the way, I'm really sorry.
Emmanuel, hold on. What is the purpose of the tax? Usually you tax behavior because you want it to change, right? I'm going to start taxing cigarettes because I want to lower the smoking rates. I want to tax soda because I want people to drink less sugar water, right? So I assume your motive is, I'm going to tax people so they will change their religious views?
Right.
Is that what your conclusion is?
Yeah, but I would only target atheism. It's not like if you are in a Christian state like Texas, it's like if you're Islam or Hindu, you get taxed more.
Do I have to? Let's carry this one out. Sorry, this is the best way to analyze these.
Let's do it.
So let's say Emmanuel, you are now the head. You're the director of the Bureau of Religious Taxation, and you have to promulgate some regulations about how you're going to carry out the mandate from Congress. Congress has passed a law that says we shall tax non-believers this amount. When they file their income tax, they get a 5% bump, whatever you want it to be, right? Now, what regulations are you going to have to promulgate to determine whether or not somebody gets taxed? Could you please tell me how you would tell who gets taxed and who doesn't get taxed?
Yeah. For example, there's a lot of, I live in Austin, Texas, so I see a lot of secular, agnostics. So you would target those.
No. Emmanuel, you misunderstand my question. All right. I asked, what rule would you put into place? What regulation, right? You're at the DMV. There's a bunch of regulations about you have to fill out a form to get a driver's license. Well, when I pay my taxes, I have to fill out a form. You're now in charge of that form and the rules.
Yeah.
What rules would you put in place? What actual form would I have to fill out? Would it be an interview? Would the police be able to come to my house and force me to show that I have a cross on my wall? What method would you use to determine whether or not I get taxed? Go.
I would just say, take their word for it. Like, it might be that.
So it's a checkbox on a form.
Say shibboleth.
It's just a checkbox on a form. Like, I don't want to receive the non-believers tax.
Yeah.
So everybody will check that box and nothing happens. What's your? I don't think that's a good regulation there.
No.
Manuel.
The way you could do that is, for example, you're on a radio show, right? So you could collect the data, who's promoting.
Right. You really, Emmanuel, I know we could come up, the three of us here could absolutely, in beautiful legalese, come up with this system. I genuinely hope and do believe, I'll say this, Emmanuel, that this is particularly silly for 1,000 different reasons, man.
And going to your point, SR, about Black History Month, it's actually quite scary because there used to be laws that would say if you are Black, then you can't stay in this hotel, right?
Exactly. That's the reason.
So then the law became, how do I determine whether or not I am Black? And there was no way, there wasn't like DNA tests. There was just, they look it. And then that makes its way up in the bowels of Hitler's Germany. And all of a sudden, the definition of not Aryan starts expanding and expanding.
And ultimately, it's not about it. Ultimately, especially like those types of laws that you're referencing, which there are many still that affect in a lot of different ways. Jaywalking. Look at the history of that. It's fascinating. But like, the point of those laws is not really to get down to the nitty gritty of, oh man, you know what? It's like technically if you're like 1/16 on your mother's great aunt's side and her dog walker had a friend whose hairstylist used to, they don't give a shit about that. Just the same with like abortion, right? Like they don't give a fuck whether or not like the Plan B pill actually is an abortion medically or is an abortion, if they're viability, they don't care about any of that. The whole point is these types of laws and these types of policies and programs, especially enacted on a governmental level, are designed to make second-class citizens out of a population so that when we continue to erode the rights that they have, nobody gives a fuck anymore. That's the whole point, Emmanuel. And if we start singling people out and saying, man, you know what? This person on Facebook once said this thing about how they don't like a church anymore. Let's go tax them a bunch. The next thing that happens is we start enacting those exact same terrible laws that the whole point of the civil rights movement was pushing against, man. We're regressing right in front of our eyes, man. And I genuinely don't believe you would want somebody walking around Austin, Texas with a fucking clipboard going, hey man, come here. Do you believe in God? Cool. Check this box for me. Thanks so much. We're gonna tax you more now. That's just shitty. And I wouldn't want that either. That's against our values, supposedly, as an American nation.
Can I just say this, by the way? I would still, it should stand that gender, national origin, orientation. I still believe that should be protected.
Religion is the next one.
Emmanuel.
Religion is the next one in that protected class.
You didn't address a single thing that I said or SR said. I think you just want to get on here and say what you want to say. You are not interested in a conversation. I really enjoyed the call because it was insanely silly, and I like playing out like, is it a form? Is it an interview? Like that's fun and funny, but it has this sinister undertone that you are not addressing nor recognizing, I think. Yeah. So either you're a really, really good troll or you are ignorant of history, you're ignorant of human nature. And I think you should go study those before you start proposing that it would be okay for every law discriminates, right? A speeding law discriminates and treats people who want to go faster than 55 differently from those who go slower than 55. But we do that because we have secular, science-based, evidence-based reasons to do those things, and we allow them. And over time, we have learned there's no reason to pass a law that draws a line based on sex, gender, national origin, and religion, because there's no justification for it. You would destroy the First Amendment on both halves. You were taxing people because of what they said on a radio show. That's the free speech part. And then you'd be establishing religion. That's the other part of the First Amendment. So you are anti-First Amendment. And quite frankly, I think either a troll or ignorant. So, and I don't mean that as an attack, like ignorant as in I'm ignorant of how to build rocket ships. I just don't know. I don't think you understand the history of how societies and majorities gang up on the other. The history of mankind is one of kinship and tribalism. And the first thing people do when they get into a group and start writing laws is they start treating groups differently. And we need to constantly fight against that to drag man out of the primordial ooze into a civilized way of behaving. And your law would put us right back in the days of Henry VIII.
I agree. And I just want to say real quick, I muted him for just a second because I was going to ask you if you wanted to go, but just real quick, like it got me so hard that he listed everything in that protected class list except for the religion. It was like, imagine if somebody came up to you and was just like, man, I love all the colors in the rainbow, you know, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo.
Yeah.
All of them. And you're like, what? Violet? You're like, fuck, man. It's the next
Violet.
one. It's the next one.
I'm going to tax the shit out of Violet.
Tax the shit out of Violet. All you Violets out there. No. What do you think, man? Should we go back?
Emmanuel, I'm done. I'm done. It's
I'm
silly.
cool with that.
I don't
I'm
think
cool with
he's
that.
either
Emmanuel,
not serious or he really needs to become a student of history and understand that that majorities are problematic, and we need a structure to protect us against the tyranny of a majority.
Right. That's the whole point. That's supposed to be the whole point about this country. Now, we have not lived up to those values, right? I'm not saying that we've ever been perfect. In fact, we've actively gone the opposite direction. And one of the clearest, most obvious signs of that are these types of laws and policies that Emmanuel was talking about, you know?
During the civil rights movement, somebody pointed out on the floor during the debate for the Civil Rights Act, one of the biggest acts that America's ever passed, it was the single longest debate that Congress has ever had, like measured in hours. To this day, people were fighting about it all over. And somebody stood up and said, my black friends cannot stay in hotels that allow dogs to stay in them.
Right.
That's the country you end up with.
Right.
And that's the smallest little point, but it's an important point.
No,
that's what you end up with under your regime.
Yeah. And Emmanuel, I know I've had you muted, just sitting there. I appreciate you calling. Again, even though I very, very, very much disagree, I am glad to know you're doing well. You know, I want that for you. And I don't think you should be taxed at a higher rate, specifically because of your religious beliefs.